Okay, awesome. So I'm going to do a quick intro round for each of them. And kicking off on my left, we have the wonderful Ali Waters Galán, Chief Pickup Officer at Kids Against Plastic, also karate brown belt, and lover of all things Harry Potter, and the youngest ever speaker at ChangeNOW at 9 years old. Next, in the middle, we have Jess Pepper, founder and director of the Climate Café, who has an interesting fact about her. She loves to keep herself cheerful amongst all this action by holding discos in her kitchen, and has had a long journey by train, sleeper train from the snowy Scottish Highlands to get here. Welcome, Jess. And on my far left, we have Matisse De Rivieres, a climate campaign manager at Chilli, the world's first climate activism app. And her favorite thing, also a musical fact, is singing in cozy Paris bars with her best friend on the cello. Sounds lovely. Oh. Welcome, Matisse. Okay. I'd love to start with kind of a very quick, short, sharp intro to your work, mobilizing people into action, kind of 1.5 to 2 minutes each, and we'll go in order for this one. Ali, Jess, Matisse. Go for it. Floor is yours. What are you doing at Kids Against Plastic?
Well, I'm a bit nervous, so... Kids Against Plastic is a British charity formed by Amy and Ella Meek when they were 10 and 12 years old, with goals to empower and educate kids and young people. And I joined about 3 years ago, I think. I'm not very sure anymore.
When you were 6?
No, 7.
7, okay.
And, well, they encouraged me to do my campaign, the Ali's 1 million litter pick, with a goal to pick up 1 million pieces of litter in 1 year, and to educate people about plastic production and pollution.
Brilliant. And where are you at in that 1 million litter pick journey?
There's something really good about it. Well, me and my mum and my dad, we came to Paris from Seville by car. It was a very long, tired journey. And, well, we did litter picks along the way. It felt really good because it was really, like, not doing good, my campaign, until we came. And when we came, it was boosted up by 12,000 pieces.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you. And you're now more than 270,000, right? Pieces. Yeah, amazing. And came by electric car from Seville. Okay. Jess, up next.
Hello, I'm here with Climate Café, which is an initiative that started in rural Scotland in 2015, where we realised that our community was not talking about climate change, and we really needed to get talking. I'm a climate reality leader, so I was aware that once people feel confident and informed about all the science and the impacts and the solutions, that they really want to chat about what happens next and what they can do to get involved in tackling the climate crisis. So this space was created initially in a rural village, and it brought lots of people together. It was very intergenerational, very creative, and other communities liked the idea, so started to create climate cafe spaces in their own communities. And these meet on a regular basis. They're just a pop-up space, a cup of tea and a biscuit, maybe cake if you're lucky, and people chat. And what we know now is that after 9 years of experience, when people come together and they chat and they really care and they connect, then the magic happens and we get sparks of action. And the action that comes out of climate cafes we have discovered to be remarkable. So it starts with individuals and it starts with communities and a chat, but then it develops into connecting with other communities and across regions and local government listening in and systems change and creating political space and space for businesses and others to move further and be involved in the conversation and the solutions as well.
Awesome, thank you. Love how that, well, okay, getting early rounds of applause here. Love how such big action starts with a cup of tea and a biscuit and relationships forming. Love that. Matisse.
Hi, I'm Matisse, and I work for Chilli. It's a platform that coordinates climate activism. We are informed by grassroots activism and experts, scientists and researchers. And basically what we do is we coordinate actions on the enablers, mainly of the fossil fuel industry. The enablers are all of those people that are benefiting from an industry, but that are invisible. So it means the banks, the insurances, the asset managers, the suppliers, the furnishers, the consulting firms, the lawyers. And we do that research to make sure that we apply the pressure on exactly the relevant layers of the system that will make our activism kind of surgical. The aim in all of this is to increase the financial risk of investing in those companies in which projects that are defined by climate science. So we have a platform on which people can take action every day. They can support the actions of activists and researchers by sending mails, commenting, sharing, and kind of echo the work of the grassroots mobilization.
Awesome. Thank you, Matisse. Love that precise, strategic approach to activism that you have. And I'd love to get into the weeds a little of your work here. I'd love to know what's your magic tricks, what's your secret sauce for inspiring other people, other kids into getting involved in this? Maybe Ali, would you like to kick off?
Well, it's really easy, to be honest. You just have to, well, I don't really know. It's just something I do. It's just natural. I normally do talks in my classes, in like classes of my school, and I make them fun, so they get involved because they've been talked to about everything that they didn't know before, and I kind of just make things fun.
Wow, okay. I think that's an awesome tip for all of us, actually, that this doesn't have to be all dark and gloomy and it has to be fun. And I remember you saying in our preparation meeting that at the end of one of your pickups, you went and had a big trampolining session, right?
Yeah, with Kids Against Plastic.
Okay, cool. That is definitely fun. What would either of you like to add to that and build on it? What's your secret sauce?
To activate people?
Yeah.
I think on our side for activism, it's kind of reminding people that activism works. With very few capacity, we've managed to make divestment of some of the biggest banks. We have passed some crucial regulations on nature restoration law, and we have pushed for policy change for some of the biggest agro-businesses. And so, yeah, reminding that activism works, and if you have €1 to put somewhere, let me tell you about the return on investment of activism. So that's the thing, but also it works sometimes, not always, and we're not doing it because it works, we're doing it because it's fair, and there's this book named Plutôt couler en beauté que flotter sans grâce, and it means doing it because with integrity, because you don't want to fail. You want to fail with integrity and dignity, and you don't want to succeed otherwise. And so, I'd say telling people it works, but also telling people it's fair.
Nice. Okay, love this. So we've got keeping it fun, telling people it works. Would you add anything else to that?
Yeah, pick up on both of those strands, that the climate cafes are community-led, and where they see inspiring action and where they see change happening, that can create an engaging space, and it allows people to see that change is possible and what is possible when we all come together, how much can be done and how much can be achieved. And that builds momentum, it feels good. You can add some cake into there, that always helps, but going to people where it fits for them, where it works for them, the local leadership, the local conversation, and then it's relevant for everybody who's involved matters too.
Okay, so meeting people where they're at. Cool, I love those tips. And also maybe to bring it all to life a little more. I won't ask all of you this, but maybe Ali, if you can start. What's one kind of quick, tangible, I know you know that word now, success story from your own work?
Well, Nick, I could give you 1,000. If you look at my map on the web, on the Kids Against Plastic web, there are little pigs all around the world, in India, in Australia, in South America. But the one that's really important to me is my class, Quinto A, getting involved in everything.
Okay, and they all lined up to say goodbye to you?
They all made a little passageway for me to walk through. It was really nice. It was really nice to walk through.
To send you on your way to Paris. Nice, awesome, thank you. Jess, you want to also give a real tangible example, story of impact from climate cafes?
Sure. For me personally, the most inspiring stories have come from the children and young people who've led the conversation and informed the adults and led on action. But a super practical example is in one village, they reduced their water use and improved their water efficiency by 1 million litres by working together over a year. And in another community, sneaking in another example, they reduced fuel poverty significantly, helping 3,000 households and installing 140 renewable energy devices, just starting from a chat that created an organisation and new jobs in the area as well. So really part of a just transition as well. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for sharing. You're all being so concise and economical with time that I've also got time for you, Matisse, to give us what's one of your big activism success stories from the Chilli app. Can you talk us through it a little bit?
I think what we do well is kind of damage the social license of those companies without digging into a specific campaign. And I'm happy if you guys can join us and look a bit more into the different campaigns that we are having. But I think it's a success for us to educate people on the role and the multifaceted way on which enablers of the fossil fuel industry are benefiting from this industry. And I think we are educating a lot on the amount of actors that are dependent and that are benefiting from it. And so, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, kind of putting pressure on invisible actors that are not used to reputational pressure, I think is a win. And we've managed some big partnerships to divest from X or Y company because we've put the pressure about a project that was really problematic. And so those are different wins, but it's also a manner of doing activism that is really targeted that I think is a success in its methodology.
Thank you for sharing. Also on the drilling in Arcasson in the south of France.
Yes, there are some oil drilling that are being constructed in Arcachon. It's new oil drilling, and it's pretty paradoxical because France is a leader in terms of the phasing out of fossil fuel, especially in its own territory. Even though it's only a small portion of the oil consumption of the French people, these oil drilling are highly symbolic, and they're submitted to a treaty which is named the Charter Energy Treaty, that has been signed by Canada and France, and it's a protection of investment treaty, and basically it allows companies to pressure countries not to drill if they do those investments that go against the financial interest of the company. And basically Vermillon Energy, it's a Canadian company, they are implanted in France, they are doing those oil drilling, and they are, in between other factors, pressuring the French government to maintain also those drillings. And it's also important to have an international regulations perception when we look at those subjects.
Okay, awesome. And I think you're bringing up a really important point there on power dynamics and that mobilization also needs speaking truth to power. I know on your tagline you have that the power of the people is stronger than the people in power. And Ali, I'd love to bring you in here because I know at one of your other recent talks at the World Retail Congress, you did a bit of speaking truth to power, right?
Yes, well, I kind of roasted Primark and Mango. And after the talk, like, the CEO of Primark came up to me and he said, next time you're in England, well, just give us a call because we can arrange a meeting. So a couple months later, I went to England. We went to Primark, told them what had happened, and apparently they were too busy to talk to us.
Ah, okay, that's not cool. And how did you roast them?
Well, I kind of said they should have more sustainable second-hand things in their shops. And the CEO of Primark after also came up to me and said, "Oh, we have 5 shops in the whole world with second-hand booths." So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I love that. How is that important in either of your work too? Changing those power dynamics? Jess, maybe you want to?
Yeah, the opportunity to come together when we're having conversations in our own communities and then they're connecting up and more and more and more chat is happening. That's building political space as well, so people can move further. So Climate Café networks and other networks can support initiatives like Chilli and like Allies and get behind them, and that grows the movement and grows change, and that's powerful stuff. That allows the political space to grow and their decision makers to go further, but also others to go further and be bolder too. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And do you find that people stepping into their power?
I mean, yeah, for sure. And I think the EU Parliament is really a good place to demonstrate the power imbalance. We're working a lot against the lobbying, the industry lobbyists, and they're very omnipresent. And many climate scientists are worried about the omnipresence of the industry lobbying in the EU Parliament. And we citizens have to mobilize and have to make our voices heard for those that are not heard. And I mean, it's a number that is always shocking to me, but there are 50,000 people, 50,000 lobbyists every year in Brussels. And as you can imagine, it's a lot of budget. And who has that budget? It's not citizens' report, it's not NGOs' report, it's the industry. But lobbying is healthy in a democracy if it's balanced rightly by citizens' pressure, by citizens' mobilization, by kind of this horizon of the common interest. And so, to me, really, the EU Parliament is a good demonstration of power imbalance, but also how, with few capacity, if we mobilize rightly on the right people, we do make changes. Because those deputies, they're not visible. And so if we demand them accountability for what they've been elected for, they'll give it to us. So it's also a question of how to mobilize, and I think, and then I'll be done, but I think Chile is really a good democratic tool in the sense that it gives back the power to the people in their hands, even for those that don't have the time. And if you don't have the time to get involved in such enormous subjects, such as the fossil fuel lobbying in the EU Parliament, which is not very accessible, you can support us and you can support the people that are on the ground looking and doing the research to kind of make sure the common interest keeps being the priority.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I think that can help to get us out of that helplessness and into action. What I'm hearing a lot throughout a lot of this work is young people at the forefront of it all, but also with a lot of successful intergenerational collaboration. Jess, maybe you can give us a little taste of how that has worked at Climate Café and also with your own presence here at ChangeNOW.
So something that I'm reflecting on hearing from Ali and Matisse is that climate cafes are inclusive spaces, so they create space for all voices to be heard. And sometimes at COP26, for example, that was including the voices of indigenous peoples, those who are on the front line of climate impacts, from women and young people, children. Children and young people have shaped the movement of the climate cafes, as I mentioned, in many different ways, of course. And the learning that their elders have done has been really important. So we've seen when children and young people have gone on climate strike, for example, a whole community learn and understand why they're doing that and get behind them and support that. But it might also be programs to improve the recycling infrastructure across a community. The leadership has been awesome. One of our directors has been involved since she was 11 and she's now 20, and she informs and keeps us in touch with what we should be thinking about all of the time across the network. Yeah, here we are in Paris, and it's really nice to have a small team with us. Two of my co-founders who joined me at the very first Climate Cafe and have washed up a lot of mugs and dragged a lot of tables around since are joining us at the booth, which you can come and see and chat about a Climate Cafe. And if you might be tempted to create that kind of space in your community, then that's something that we can support you with now. We have a hub that connects and supports new Climate Cafes and those who are existing around the world as well.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. And Ali, Kids Against Plastic is also getting grown-ups into action as well, right?
Yeah. Well, there's on the tickets on the lanyards, my nanny, she's got one and it says Kids Against Plastic on it. So yeah, and there's this thing called Big Kids Against Plastic. There's my dad, all the dads and all the mums involved in it. So that's really good to see.
Awesome. And we also have your great-grandmother with us today, who has also been part of Litter Picks as well, right?
Yeah, she has.
Shout out to her, maybe.
Yeah.
Welcome. That is real intergenerational collaboration. Matisse, how much are young people leading in Chile, and how core do you think they are to the various movements that you're running on there?
They're very young, and it's a lot of women. Yeah, no, I mean, it's... Yeah, it's very feminine. Activism is very, it's really a lot of women. We give ownership based on people's willingness to get involved, not on the diplomas, not on their experience. And you'd be very much surprised how those people can really well understand the complexities of the system if you give them the tool to do so. And I mean, it sounds unrealistic to lead a campaign on a bank when you are 20, but we have many people with us that are actually doing it, and they're leading campaigns on, I don't know, Google, because its pension fund is invested in Vanguard, that is investing in fossil expansion in the Amazon. And it's a girl that is 20 that is leading that. And we have also younger people, especially in the US, because, I don't know, maybe there is less barrier in terms of psychologically, how can I get involved? In the US, it feels like US people are leading younger campaigns. We have a girl, she's leading all by herself a campaign strategically from A to Z on a coal mine in Tennessee. And she is just so inspiring. She's working with local communities, with local mayors, with deputies. She's working at the state level. She's working at the federal level. And that girl is so young. And I think when you give the tool and you tell people they can do so, it's really surprising how they take the ownership and they come to understand the complexities of what it implies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very young.
Brilliant. Super happy to hear. And yeah, it's young people moving the needle on this issue more than any other demographic, I think. Our timer has gone red, so we'll start to very slowly wrap it up. And I think, I hope you agree, this has been extremely inspiring input, but inspiration is not enough. We need to turn that inspiration into action. So I'd love to leave you all, give you all the chance for a closing message to the audience. What are the actions that you would love them to go away and take with them? And how can they support your work also? Let's go this time down the line this way. So Matisse and Ali, you get the last word.
I think the first thing is, if you can and if you feel aligned, support activists and maybe break the psychological barrier of making activism such a distant manner of acting. It's not that far away from us, and those people really are like us. So support activism is, I'd say, a first step. And of course, the second step, if you're here today, it's probably that you care. And so, yeah, join us on Chile, come to see our campaigns and see if maybe you want to lead one also. So, yeah.
And they can download it on...
yeah, exactly. You can download it. So we are on the Apple Store only at the moment, but you can download it, CHILLI.
Awesome. Thank you. Jess, What action do you want people to take, and how can they support Climate Café?
I'd love everybody to think about where the chat is happening in your community, perhaps in a workplace or on campus, even a school, or in your local community or your community of interest. And if you can create a space to have that chat, and if you would like to have it on a regular basis, get in touch. We can support you to connect you to lots of other communities who are doing exactly that. And I'd also suggest maybe looking around. There are a lot of women in this movement, children, young people as well, and others who maybe don't get seen and heard and supported and valued and resourced as much as they should. So maybe look around, and if somebody's doing something close to you and you can support them, or you can get behind them and work together, or give them space to share what they're doing and applaud that, celebrate that in your own community or your own workplace, your own school, as Ali's peers did, which sounded fabulous, then let's do that. Yeah, this is a can-do place. Let's get doing.
Awesome, thank you. Love the can-do mentality. Ali, what's your message for everyone?
Well, I kind of just want everyone to raise awareness because it's kind of like me. My dad told me, my mom told me, I told my friends told their family, and then it just spread. So I just want people to raise awareness to their friends and family.
So it becomes like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And how can they support your work at Kids Against Plastic or get involved?
Well, it's pretty simple. Even if you just pick up one piece of litter a year or a day or a month and just post it on Instagram, my dad will see it, and then he'll add it to the million litter pick, and that would be very helpful.
Oh, okay. You can all be part of this 1 million litter pick.
Anyone can be part of it.
Anyone, by following Kids Against Plastic on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. I'd love you to all go and do that as well. Woo! Okay, thank you so much. I think we met our objective of this panel, of getting into the details of how to mobilize people. I'd love to say a big thank you to all your secret magic tips. Thank you for your incredible, dedicated work and activism. And thank you, all of you, for your time spent watching and for your really, we felt the warmth and encouragement of your support there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.